The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, 2010.
Part 1. The Foundation. You must understand that the compound effect is the principle of reaping huge rewards from a series of small, smart choices made consistently over time. It is the operating system that has been running your life whether you know it or not, quietly determining your health, your wealth, and your relationships through the accumulation of your daily decisions. Most people expect to see immediate results from their efforts, and when they don't, they abandon their good intentions, never realizing that the most powerful results are delayed. The story of the magic penny that doubles every day for 31 days illustrates this perfectly. By day 20, you have only $5,000, while your friend who took the $3 million up front feels like a genius. But by day 31, that penny has become over $10 million. You cannot afford to be seduced by get-rich-quick schemes or overnight success stories, because they ignore the fundamental truth that success takes effort, patience, and the right work correctly and consistently applied. Hardy shares the story of his childhood with his single father, a tough disciplinarian who believed you could beat any opponent simply by working harder than everyone else. His father's rigid routines, so consistent you could set your watch by them, taught him early that idleness gives you an edge and kickstarts momentum ahead of your peers. Through the tale of three friends, Larry, who plods along doing nothing different, Scott, who makes small positive changes like reading 10 pages daily and cutting 125 calories, and Brad, who makes small negative changes like adding dessert and watching more TV, you see how after 31 months, their lives are radically different. Scott is trim and promoted, Brad is overweight and divorced, and Larry is exactly where he started, but now bitter about it. The small choices you make every day, which seem inconsequential in the moment, are the very things that determine your destiny. You must take 100% responsibility for everything that happens in your life, because you alone are responsible for what you do, don't do, or how you respond to what is done to you. People love to play the victim, making excuses about traffic or bad luck. But if you live in a free society, you already have opportunity knocking daily. Hardy redefines luck as personal growth plus attitude plus opportunity plus action, meaning you create your own luck through your choices and preparation. The first step toward change is awareness, and the best way to become aware is to measure everything. When you track your behavior, every dollar spent, every calorie consumed, every minute wasted, you cannot hide from the truth. Merely becoming conscious of your actions begins to change them, and all winners are trackers who understand you cannot improve what you do not measure. You will never change your life until you change something you do daily, because the secret of your success is found in your daily routine. Every dollar you spend today is costing you roughly $5 in 20 years due to the opportunity cost of not investing it. A single soda per day, a few minor purchases each month, a little extra television each evening. These seem harmless alone, but compound into massive results over decades. The difference between the number 1 golfer and number 10 golfer is just 1.9 strokes per round, yet the prize money difference is astronomical. Small course corrections in your life will result in exactly zero applause in the moment, but years later, you will be miles ahead of where you would have been had you stayed on your original trajectory. Part 2. The Principles. You must recognize that choice is at the center of all success and failure, and it is what you choose that makes the biggest difference in your life. Too often, you sleepwalk through your choices, defaulting to what society and culture tell you is normal, never realizing that it's not the big choices but the ones you think don't matter that derail you. The problem is not your intentional decisions, which you can easily change, but your unintentional choices that have been hardwired into your brain by your surroundings and environment. You need to micromanage your choices by giving conscious attention to each one, starting with tracking everything in an area you want to improve. Keep a pocket journal and write down every penny you spend, every calorie you consume, every minute you watch television. By the end of the month, you will be astonished by the patterns you never knew existed. Hardy shares a powerful personal practice that transformed his marriage. For 1 year, he secretly wrote down one thing he appreciated about his wife every single day. At the end of the year, he gave her the journal as a gift, and she cried, saying it was the best present she had ever received. But what surprised him more was that he himself was even more affected by the practice. By consciously looking for things she was doing right, there was little room to find things to complain about. What you appreciate appreciates, and gratitude is acknowledging that there are people in your life who have done things for you that you could not do for yourself. This principle applies to every area of your life. Whatever you focus on expands. Your habits define who you are, and the older the habit, the deeper its roots, and the harder it is to uproot. Most of what you do in your daily routine runs on autopilot. Your habits run you, but until they run you in the direction you actually want to go, how will you shape your life as you desire? Even champions in their fields are not God-gifted. They all share one thing in common, which is good habits practiced consistently. The difference between learning and studying is crucial here. Learning leads to knowledge, but studying means you are invested, you practice, you take action. The world already has tons of knowledge. You don't need to learn more. What you need is to study, to practice, and to take action on the knowledge you already have. You must know your why, because what motivates you is the ignition of your passion, the source of your enthusiasm, and the fuel of your persistence. With a why that is meaningful enough, you will do almost anything. Too many people focus on achievement without fulfillment, reaching their goals only to feel empty because they never connected their efforts to deeper values. If you create goals that have friction with your core values, you will self-sabotage or feel guilty about your progress. Design the life you want first and the business you want second, rather than choosing a career and then trying to fit a life around it. When you set a goal, most people ask what they need to do to achieve it. But the better question is, who do you need to become? Success is not something you pursue like chasing butterflies. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Part 3. The power. You must understand that momentum is one of the most potent forces for success, but it is difficult to achieve initially because it needs that hard push to get started. A space shuttle burns most of its fuel just to break through the atmosphere. Once it achieves escape velocity, it can coast smoothly through space with minimal energy. Similarly, your new habits require tremendous effort at the beginning. But once momentum builds, maintaining them becomes increasingly easy. The hardest part is always the beginning, like pushing a merry-go-round on the playground. But once you get moving, you can keep going with very little effort. With momentum, you can continue succeeding with less work because it's easy to keep things running once you have them in motion. To reach the level where momentum works for you, you must first inculcate new choices that align with your core values. Then repeat those choices until they turn into positive habits. You need to create rhythm and bring it into your daily routine until your new habits become as effortless as brushing your teeth, because automatic behaviors reduce stress and free up mental energy for higher pursuits. Most people fail because they try to do too much too soon, joining a gym with ambitious 5-day-a-week plans that last 3 weeks before collapse. You must establish routines that embed your new habits within standardized, automatic behaviors. Jack Nicklaus had a pre-shot routine he performed exactly the same way every time. A psychologist tracked his pre-shot time throughout an entire tournament, and it never varied by more than 1 second. This is the power of routine. It removes decision fatigue, eliminates the need for willpower, and sets you up for success every single time. Bookend your days by ensuring you control how they start and end. Finish your most important tasks first, review your day each evening, and commit to a weekly relationship review where you rank your marriage on a scale of 1 to 10 and ask what could make it a 10. Anyone can fall in love. Falling in love is easy. Staying in love takes real work. And that work is done through consistent, small acts of attention and care. When you lose 2 weeks of work, you don't just lose the work you would have done, you lose momentum, and that is the bigger problem. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion, but objects at rest tend to stay at rest. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. A modest effort maintained daily beats heroic effort followed by burnout every single time. Be patient with yourself because you have spent years repeating behaviors, and it will take years to build new ones. The compound effect works on negative behaviors just as powerfully as positive ones. Overspending can bankrupt you slowly. Cutting back on unimportant purchases will add up to huge savings over time. You must be vigilant about which direction your momentum is carrying you. Part 4. The environment. You must recognize that you are shaped by the world around you. Your environment, the media you consume, and the people you spend time with all influence your decisions and habits more than you realize. Media tends to grab your attention with alarming reports that negatively affect your attitude, aggregating the worst, saddest, and most stressful stories every single day. Stop watching the news. Instead, limit your media exposure to information that is personally useful, educational, and inspirational. Your entertainment versus education ratio matters enormously. The top 20% of successful people spend their time focused on education, while the bottom 80% focus on entertainment. Garbage in, garbage out applies to your mind just as it applies to your body. Your reference group, the 10 to 12 people you spend the most time with, has a profound impact on your behavior because you naturally adopt the habits and standards of those around you. Harvard professor David McClelland's research on reference groups shows that if you surround yourself with people who have higher standards than you, you will rise. If you surround yourself with people who have lower standards, you will fall. You must consciously choose who is on your personal board of advisors, the experts you learn from, the friends who challenge you, the mentors who guide you. The best people hire the best coaches. Harvey Mackay had 20 coaches, including a speech coach, writing coach, and humor coach. You need to be willing to invest in the relationships that lift you higher. What you are willing to tolerate is exactly what you will get. If you tolerate people being late, that is what you will experience. If you tolerate earning less than you are worth, that is what you will earn. If you tolerate clutter in your environment, clutter will interfere with your goals and keep you stuck at your current level. This is similar to asking what kind of pain you are willing to accept, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Your environment must be designed to support your success, not undermine it. Remove the junk food from your house, eliminate the triggers for your bad habits, and create physical space that reminds you of who you are becoming rather than who you used to be. The people who achieve extraordinary success are those who go above and beyond what is expected. Oprah's 2004 season opener stands as one of the greatest product launches and examples of exceeding expectations in television history. You should always go a little bit beyond what people expect. Dress a little nicer, try a little harder, stay a little later. These small extra efforts compound into reputations and opportunities that cannot be gained any other way. Going the extra distance for customers, friends, and family will not simply add to your attainments, it will multiply them. Into every life come moments of truth that challenge you to do your best. By meeting and exceeding those challenges, you accelerate your growth and create exponential rather than linear results. Part 5. The acceleration. Once you have established positive habits and momentum, you can accelerate your progress by pushing past your comfort zones and challenging yourself to higher levels of performance. Hardy introduces the concept of big momentum, and explains how exponential growth becomes possible when you consistently raise the bar. The acceleration secrets of superachievers are available to you as well. They seek continuous improvement. They raise the standard. They utilize the power of mentors and accountability partners. You must be willing to do what others are not willing to do, to go where others are not willing to go, to become what others are not willing to become. You need to identify the keystone habits that create positive ripple effects throughout your entire life. These are the small changes that, when implemented, naturally lead to improvements in multiple other areas. Weight loss, for example, increases energy and improves attitude, which leads to better performance at work and closer relationships at home. Saving just 1% of your income this month, then 2% next month, until you reach 10% creates financial momentum that transforms your entire relationship with money. Find the 1 or 2 habits that will create the largest cascade of positive changes, and focus your energy there first. The 5 strategies to bulletproof your habit change process begin with identifying your triggers, the who, what, where, and when that prompt your bad habits. Second, clean house by removing every temptation from your environment so the bad choice is not even available. Third, swap it by replacing bad habits with similar but good alternatives, carrots and celery instead of potato chips, walking instead of watching television. Fourth, ease in by giving yourself time to adjust rather than attempting radical overnight transformation. Fifth, for some people and some habits, jump in by quitting everything at once, gulping down the difficult sip, and enduring the short-term pain for long-term gain. Dean Ornish's research found it was actually easier for people to ditch multiple bad habits simultaneously than to tackle them one at a time. You must use the power of public accountability by declaring your goals to everyone around you. Hang your habit tracker in the office where colleagues can see it. Tell your friends what you are trying to achieve. Find a success buddy who shares your goals and will track progress with you weekly. Competition with a positive mindset can drive you to overachieve because you try to beat the other person while also supporting their success. And through it all, celebrate your achievements along the way, because pushing toward goals without celebration will exhaust you before you arrive. The compound effect takes time to produce significant results, but when you maintain patience, persistence, and positive momentum, you become unstoppable. Part 6. The integration. You must now integrate everything you have learned into a coherent philosophy for living. Knowledge uninvested is wasted. You don't need more knowledge. You need a new plan of action. There are no new fundamentals. Success is doing a half-dozen things really well, repeated 5,000 times. Tony Robbins' concept of no man's land describes when you are not really happy with your life, but not unhappy enough to do anything about it. You must avoid this complacency at all costs, because the compound effect works whether you are conscious of it or not, and drifting through no man's land will compound into a life of quiet desperation. You must decide what you are willing to tolerate and what you are no longer willing to accept. This applies to your health, your finances, your relationships, and your personal growth. The people who achieve the most in life are not those who never face challenges, but those who refuse to tolerate mediocrity in themselves. They understand that the standard you walk past is the standard you accept, so they set boundaries and enforce them consistently. When you stop tolerating excuses from yourself, you free up enormous energy for progress. Hardy concludes by suggesting that the best way to achieve success is to help others achieve it for themselves. This is not merely noble sentiment, but practical wisdom. When you teach others, you learn more deeply. When you lift others, you rise yourself. When you focus on contribution, you find fulfillment that pursuing success alone never provides. The compound effect works in community just as it works individually. Small acts of kindness compound into deep relationships. Small investments in others compound into lasting legacy. Small contributions to something larger than yourself compound into a life of meaning. You now have everything you need. The principles are simple. Take 100% responsibility. Make small, smart choices consistently. Track everything. Build positive habits. Harness momentum. Control your influences. And accelerate through continuous improvement. The rest is up to you. There is nothing more potent than being consistent and persistent. Nothing more powerful than the accumulated effect of your daily decisions. You will never change your life until you change something you do daily. And the secret of your success is found in your daily routine. Begin today, start small, stay consistent, and trust the process. The compound effect is the only path to results that last.
To show love and appreciation, like, share, and subscribe.